Okay, hello. Oh no! Even before I start, I realize there is something that is going to get some under on
Okay,
some people.
hello. Oh no! Even before I start, I realize there is something that is going to get some under on some people.
Okay, let's consider this starting. Hello and welcome to the Coronacast comedy show. Here with me, Deliso Chaponda. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a show where I, a comedian who is lacking the kind of audiences I used to have because of the coronavirus, occasionally, it used to be daily. Now it's on days when I don't have what passes for a gig nowadays. I stream this, the Coronacast comedy show, and I attempt to make you all laugh, hopefully, for around half an hour before we all get back to our rather troubling lives of 2020. So, welcome to the show. I am Delisa Japonde. You are all welcome wherever you are. First person here to comment is somebody called Escudero Trozo Cassius. Peter says, hello. You've been inspired by me since the first time you saw me perform on stage. Listening to me made you improve your public speaking and applying humor. I am very glad to hear that. You are very, very welcome, and welcome to the show, Escudero Trozo. Oh, okay, so we've got some echo. We'll try to solve the echo. And also somebody said, please close the closet. I don't know why it bothers people so much, but I guess I don't mind doing it. Okay, but now let us look if we can tweak the echo. Okay. I will try turning the sound down. Does that help? Hopefully that helps. But before we get started, let's just see if everybody's hearing me well. Echo was just at the start. It's all good now, says Sean Alexander. I think we are good to start. Anybody who's not watched it before, or anyone who needs a reminder, be aware, as always, I am a person performing, streaming in a kitchen, which can make you feel like a deranged lunatic. So the more feedback you give me, if you find a joke funny or a comment interesting, put LOLs in, ask questions. The more interactive you are, the less of an insane human being I am. There are a lot of people in the house. Hello, Jaya Sankar. Hello, Mamadi Ba. Very good to have you here in the house. Okay, let's get going. Today's episode is talking about things which have been on my mind since the last time I streamed. Last time I streamed was actually middle of last week because I actually had gigs. They were very strange gigs. They were socially distant gigs in very large venues. So I did that for 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, which was wonderful. And then Thursday and Friday I did like a big version of that. It was at the O2 Forum. It was like around 500 people in a 2,000 seater with the big headliner of Eddie Izzard. It was absolutely amazing, and it gave me hope because giant rooms, decent crowd may be the future of comedy currently, because small room, tiny crowd just feels odd. But anyway, I'm back, and these are just things I've seen in the news and things which have been in my mind in the last few days. Okay, so let's get started. Boom. Before we get started, we've got one. I will see your questions after doing one or two jokes, so keep asking the questions. I have seen you, Michael Kirganovich. I will address you after this. So first news story I want to talk about is not specifically America, but a wonderful story which I came across. So a sex shop in the US is offering female customers free red, white, and blue vibrators if they pledge to vote in the upcoming White House election, right? The erotic adult store in Montana says it wants to make America orgasm again and is giving away 2,200 vibrators in a promotion dubbed the Great American Orgasm. Okay? Now, I gotta say, if you're gonna try to get people out to vote, this is the way to do it. Don't give people a yes, I voted sticker. No, let's go one step further and give them a yes, I voted orgasm. I think this should be implemented worldwide, but the one problem I see is they are giving you the vibrator based on the pledge that you're gonna vote. But they're gonna give you this. You're gonna be so excited. November the 2nd, you're gonna use it instead of voting, right? You might be at home too happy to go vote. What you need to do, sex shop, is you need to offer the vibrators on the way out of the voting booth, right? They could even be like a little trap door inside the voting booth, right? You vote whoever you want, and out pops a red, white, and blue vibrator. Or maybe the vibrator you get should be related to the candidate who you voted for, right? So if you vote for Biden, you get like a really old vibrator, right? It's trustworthy. It's boring, but it's really old and it's what you expect, right? Or if you vote for Trump, you get like a 2-inch vibrator that is very unpredictable. You don't know whether it's gonna vibrate fast or slow. You don't know if it's gonna be on or off, right? Whatever you vote, you get that vibrator. That is my idea. Make America come again. So let's take a chat before we go on to the next story. Okay, so over here we have some questions. So I hope you're still here. Michael Turgonovich, is that a Russian name? It's a very awesome name. But she says, hello, nice to see you. I trust you find me well. What is my favorite food that I cook myself? My favorite food that I cook myself, Michael Serganovich, is tom kha gai soup. That is a Thai coconut chicken soup, which I make when I want to impress. If you are a lady and I have made you tom kha soup, I am probably trying to get into your pants. Okay, it is my let me warm this person up food. That is my food of choice. I usually will start with the tom kha gai soup and then follow it with a little bit of like sticky rice and a little bit of sweet and sour pork and maybe some vegetables. Oh, describing this is making me hungry. So that's my favorite food that I cook. And what is the most complex? That probably also is the most complex food that I cook. And how about making some jokes on food or foodie people? I will do that on one of my days when I'm doing jokes from audience suggestions. Thank you for putting it in, Michael Kurganovich. I do think that it is interesting that food is considered to be an aphrodisiac. Okay, actually, let me give it a talk right now. Michael Kurganovich, people say food turns people on, right? But some of the food that supposedly turns people on does not seem tasty. In South America, one of the things which was considered an aphrodisiac is women, if you want the man to fall in love with you, they say bake him bread, but knead the bread between your thighs. And then when you bake the bread and he takes a bite, he's going to fall in love with you. This to me sounds like superstition, but even so, it probably is very bitter tasting bread. Let's see. You hear Jacqueline Boylan says you wish you were at the Eddie Izzard gig. Eddie was, as always, a sublime performer, but he was trying out stuff for his next tour. So I think around March or April, he's probably going to go on tour again. Actually, this is a good moment to say that I am going on tour next year, and I am going to start doing previews. The first preview is Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are normal Coronacast like this, where it's just stuff I've written in the day. Then Thursday, Levi Fringe. At the Levi Fringe, I am doing at the same time as the Coronacast, 7 o'clock, I'm doing 1 hour, which is a preview. And if you don't know what a preview is, it's sort of an early version of what ends up being your tour. I usually do around 10 before my show gets good. But I'm not saying wait till the 10th one. There's still a lot of funny stuff which happens, a lot of anyway, the first one is this Thursday. You're all welcome. You can get tickets at the Levi Fringe website. I don't even know the price of them and stuff like that. I should look into that before I'll probably there are promotions for it on my website. Okay, let's keep going. Hello, glad you enjoyed that joke, Escaduro. Is there an orange one? You are right. There should be an orange one. If you vote for Trump, you get an orange vibrator. Excellent, excellent here. Glad I'm making people hungry. Still no super chat. Yes, random videos. The issue that happened is that because I was not verified, my something to do with, they mailed me something that I was meant to do as a proof of address so I could be broadcasting from anywhere in the world. So they have removed the super chat until they prove that I am real. So if any of you want to support me financially until super chat returns, you can become a Patreon on patreon.com/Deliso for as little as £1 or as much as you like. There were perks such as, if you want to come to one of the Zoom previews and you are a patron, you get a free entry. And there are a bunch of other little perks. Not as many as they should be, but I'm working on it. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020. Gotta talk about 2020 because a lot of people are frustrated by the year 2020, right? A lot of people I've heard say, fuck 2020, 2020 is terrible, 2020 is evil, to the point that now people hate the year itself, as though the numbers 2020 are the cause of all of the malign bad luck we have had. There's even a numerologist, okay? There's a numerologist whose name is, let me find her name. There's a numerologist who says that she saw all of this coming, right? I've not even found her quote. But anyway, there's a numerologist, like it's almost like a psychic sort of person who looks at astrology, and she said that she warned everybody that the numbers 2020, because of the repetition and the 2 zeros, were always going to be a terrible year, right? I would hate to date a numerologist, right? Because she's so superstitious about the numbers. So you could give her like a bouquet of roses and she's like, thank you, thank you. Then she realizes there are 8 roses and she's like, you sent me 8 roses, damn you, damn you. So either way, if 2020 really is to blame, right? This is not the first time that there has been a so-called evil year, or a year where people blame it. Do you remember in 2016 where lots of beloved stars started dying, right? Prince went down, David Bowie, Muhammad Ali, and everybody was like, screw 2016, screw 2016, and every week someone else was just, screw 2016. I think this has happened enough time that even though I make fun of them, there is a chance that maybe the years are to blame. So I think the UN needs to have the power to end a year. If it seems like we're having a bad year, there should be a summit. Everybody should vote, and we could just say early on, we are going to move on to the next year. Wouldn't it have been great if at beginning of 2020, we've got the coronavirus coming down, we've got all kinds of horrible things happening. If the UN said, no, 2020 is too negative, we're switching to 2021, middle of February, March starts, we're in now January 2021, and all the bad luck goes away. This is how we can sort things out. But I imagine it could get complicated in the United Nations if, let's say, Italy is like, yes, we would like to vote for the termination. Let's say this happens in 2025. We would like to vote for the termination of the year 2025 because we have had bad crops and we have had a country declare war against us. This is clearly a negative year. And then perhaps the government of Korea says, yes, we would like to second that. We too have had a terrible 2025. This is a year of bad luck. We support the motion that we should move on to the next year. And then some country like Malawi is like, hey, but we're having a great year. Leave us alone. We enjoyed 2025. And then they get vetoed by everybody else. Their good luck year turns into a bad luck year. Sean Alexander has a theory that maybe it's to do with the Olympics. That's every 4 years too. Wouldn't it be terrible if every 4 years we have a bad one? At least it's not like the Star Treks. Because you know, with the Star Treks, all of the even numbered movies are good and all of the odd numbered movies are terrible, right? That's numerology. That is true. Okay, here we go. Crazy conspiracy theory, not genuine thought. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Here we go. Good. How are you doing, Ricky Who? Welcome to the house. Welcome to the chat. Any questions you have, ask away. Escudero Trozo Cathius Peter says 2020 sucks, but it somewhat is teaching us something. You haven't figured out yet what it is, but it has. Actually, I'm going to take this moment to have a little bit of coffee. And Escudero Trozo Cathius, I have never been to the Philippines. I've been to a number of your neighbors, but I have never yet been to Philippines. If there is an English-speaking gig in the Philippines, tell them Talisa Chaponda is available. Okay, let me get some coffee, and then we're going to keep going to the next subject. Because what I did was I had it brewing when the show was meant to start. Okay, we move on to the next subject. Booyaka. Okay, as you can see, I am of course talking about the Nandos Peri color chart of tiers, because the UK is in a tier level, right? It's like you're either in tier 1 or you're in tier 2 or you're in tier 3 or you're tier 4. It looks exactly like the Nandos Peri color chart, and I actually think they should have used the Nando's terms, right? Because tier 4 doesn't make you feel scared, but people are like, COVID is extra hot, right? Or COVID is hot, or COVID is medium, would fully understand. And if you're in a city where COVID is lemon and herb, would be totally fine. But it is currently a very bizarre situation where different parts of the country are at different tiers at any designated week. And it makes me feel like I used to feel when I was in high school, you know? When there's the cool kids and the kids who aren't so cool, right? Or when there's the clever kids and the kids who've been held back. And I'm like, what, next week we're going to be in a yellow bus because we're in tier 2 or something like that? I do not think that it is the most... I don't think it inspires people to follow the rules when they know that the people in the next city are not following the rules. That's my issue. Maybe it makes sense for a number of other reasons, but I have noticed that there is more of a resistance and more people not wanting to comply because of the fact that their neighbors, sometimes their rival, right? You've got to understand, the people in the UK hate their neighboring cities anyway, right? So their rival city is in tier 2, they're in tier 3, and you're like, what? What? People in Birmingham like, what? Wolverhampton has more freedom than we do? No way! This is... They were divided anyway. It's just adding an extra reason. Now look, it's easy for me to point and make suggestions. I don't know what I would do if I was in government, but I think having different areas at different Nando's Peri scale is the road to ruin. Everybody should be in the same extra hot brazier at the same time. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Let's see what people are saying. You have a question, says Sean Alexander. Is the audience member called Chelsea in blah blah blacklist the same one I now am living with? No. That is
blah blah blacklist.
So blah blah blacklist was my tour show.
Okay.
And I released it on YouTube. Okay. And I clearly had some banter with someone in the audience called Chelsea.
Oh, she stole my name.
She stole your name.
Bitch.
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, you can help. So on Instagram, Chelsea Hart is not the only Chelsea Hart.
I know. Don't follow the blonde one.
There is a
stupid
blonde Chelsea Hart who currently has more followers than
but
this
not by much.
Chelsea Hart.
But not by much.
So if you are not currently following Chelsea Hart, go follow Chelsea Hart so that she can make the other Chelsea Hart weep.
Oh my god. I'm so mad. She got married a year ago. It wasn't even her name. It's her married name. Work so hard.
Next subject, ladies and gentlemen. We have just spoken of a fake Chelsea Hart. I think this is the time to speak of the conspiracy theory of the fake Melania Trump. You may have seen articles about this, people speculating about this. Apparently, sometimes when Melania Trump escorts Donald Trump, she looks different, right? And there is one picture over here which has been highlighted over here, as you can see. And apparently, if you look very closely, her nose and her smile looks different. I'm not really sure about it, but either way, there are people who have looked very closely and they're saying this is not the same woman. Clearly, there is a second Melania Trump. So what does this mean? Does he have two Melania Trumps? When he arranged whatever deal with the, rent a bride service, did he order 2 for 1? Was that the deal? Or is this just a double? Often leaders have doubles, right? Foreign leaders have doubles in case somebody tries to assassinate them, or people have even more sinister theories. One of the theories is like, well, she had COVID, she died, he doesn't want people to know she died, so this is a doppelganger. People have gone absolutely crazy with this theory, but it got me thinking about the idea of doubles. Right? The idea of doppelgangers, right? It's actually something which I should look into. I should franchise Deliso Chaponda. Right? Yeah. I got lots of jokes, but there's only one of me. And there is very high demand for my kind of comedy. So, any of you watching, you can apply to become a Deliso Chaponda. I will send you a little pack, which will include jokes, which will include, if you're white, a little bit of charcoal. Don't worry, it's not considered blackface if I agree to it, okay? And if you've got a deep voice, you're going to have to learn to speak with my high-pitched falsetto, right? And you can be a Deliso too. We can all be Delisos, right? But seriously, though, there are dictators who have had doubles. Imagine your job is to be a dictator's double. Your entire job is to be shot instead of the dictator. I gotta tell you, that's a job where I think you have no incentive. In fact, you're gonna try and do your job badly. In the morning, you're gonna try and make your makeup look a little less than them. You're gonna try and walk a little differently. You're just gonna be like, please shoot the real dictator instead of the double. Here you go. Let's move on. See what's going on. You suspect it's a double, but it'd be funny if they were twins, says Sean Alexander. You suspect it's a double. So you don't think that looks like her? I guess part of the reason people get confused is because she's smiling. And she usually doesn't smile in Trump's presence. And they're like, someone's smiling with Trump? That's not the real Melania. I think it's fascinating. I think it would be wonderful if it really is a double. I don't buy it. I think people look a little different from day to day, But maybe. Who knows? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very fascinating story. So, this is a story which is celebrated, but I don't understand why it's celebrated. A 12-year-old boy, 12 years old, in Tennessee, is being recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records for achieving nuclear fusion just hours before his 13th birthday. Jackson Oswald, now 15, of Memphis, has been named the world's youngest person to achieve nuclear fusion after officials verified that he built his own nuclear fusion reactor at his family's home and successfully deployed it in his final hours of being 12 years old. Why is this child being celebrated? This child is evil, okay? This child is Lex Luthor. What kind of child? Look, at the age of 12, my regular day when I wasn't at school involved, I don't know, sticking my face in the mud, running after friends, making noises, playing some kind of, in retrospect, very offensive game, such as Cowboys and Indians. We were kids. We didn't know it was offensive, right? But that was what normal kids are doing. This kid is building a nuclear reactor This child's going to be the end of the world. Why is this child being... Oh, some people say that's very impressive. Sheldon Cooper in real life. I know this is a reference to some TV show. I'm not sure what TV show. It's Big Bang Theory, right? Big Bang. I think I watched one of them a while ago, and it didn't suit my sense of humor. But yes, evil geniuses. I do not understand why they are being lauded. Tricky Fun says, Deliso, no one can be my double, so how can you help keep talking so continuously without messing up? I do constantly mess up. I stumble over my words and I just keep going so nobody notices. That's what we're doing. Oh, Sarah Hall, you're very welcome. Apologies that you missed the warning for this, but I will let you know there's going to be a Coronacast comedy show today, tomorrow, and the next day. And then on Thursday, there will be a Deliso Chaponda preview of Apocalypse Not Now, my show which will be touring next year, tickets of which can be currently bought from the Levy, Levy, or maybe it's Levi Fringe website. Okay, let's keep going. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's only one or two. There's only one or two left. What have we got next? What's next in the pipe? Okay, so this isn't a news story. People really want, when a relationship breaks down, to be the person who says that it was his fault, or it was her fault, right? Even though it doesn't change anything, people really want to be the one who was in the right, and they will lecture you in detail, ad nauseum, trying to persuade you that of the two parties, they were the wronged party. Even people who do horrific things, right? Even people who do, this is where the she was asking for it comes from. People who have done horrible things like punch their partner will try and explain to you that no, it was not I who was wrong, it was not I who was wrong. And then it particularly goes into overdrive when the couple who are breaking up have got the same pool of friends, right? This is why it's very important to each maintain your own coterie of friends, because in the event of a breakup, if you only have one pool of friends, there is going to be a tug of war for each member in this, and it'll be like there's a constant but oh wait, hold on, what was my main point? Oh yes, this is all based on a friend of mine who's going through a breakup, who is constantly trying to persuade me that they were the wronged party, falsely assuming that morality is the reason why I choose my friends. Okay? He is probably going to lose Deliso in this fight for who stays friends, because yes, he may have been the one who was morally right, but she has bigger tits than he has, right? And that goes in her favor. Also, she's funnier, right? So even though she seems like she was the villain in this case, I am not necessarily keeping them. Now, this is my question to you. Are there any cases where you have been in a relationship, it has disintegrated, and you will happily say it was your fault, right? Because everybody's always saying it was their fault, and they'll explain why. Is there a case where you can think that it was your fault? I can think of one case where it was unequivocally my fault very early on, and it was my fault because I was more interested in someone else, which is a very childish kind of thing to do. But are there times which you will admit to me that it was your fault, not somebody else's fault? Okay, let's move on to the next subject, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. This one is a very absurd story, okay? So, in Finland, right? I believe this is in Finland. Let me just find the news story. I cannot find the news story, but I remember it from, here it is. An airline in Finland is offering those who miss the taste of airline food the chance to enjoy it at home. Finnair is announcing that the taste of Finnair meals will be available to buy at supermarkets across Finland. I think these people don't understand. Nobody likes airplane food. It's what you eat because you have to, because you are traveling and you do not want to be hungry traveling. You are in it for the flight. You're not in it for the food. I've never heard of someone who's saying, I'm going to France this weekend. I'm like, oh, you're going to see the Eiffel Tower or something? No. I'm only just traveling over because I want to eat the airplane food. We do not love the airplane food. It's like going to a casino, not for the gambling. You are going for the nuts. You're going for the nuts at the bar, right? It's like me going to the immigration office not to process my papers. If like me going there because I want to listen to the music in the lift. Nobody cares about your food, Finland. Sorry, actually, that was misdirected ire. It is not the nation Finland I am frustrated by. It is Finnish Air who are selling their food. Who thinks this is them actually realizing that a lot of the food that they had ordered is going to expire, and they're trying to spin it and say, hey, if you miss it, buy it, rather than throw it all out. I actually think that's probably what's going on. In that case, they should be lauded for not wasting food. Okay, if I am wrong and any of you actually love airline food, do let me know. Hello, Chad Supreme Deluxe. Hello, good to have you in the house. I think you are the only person watching on Twitch. So as usual, the most people are watching on my Facebook fan page. Then we've got the next most amount of people watching on YouTube. Then the next amount of people watching on my Facebook personal page. And last of all, Twitch. Thank you for being my sole Twitch fan. Thank you, Chad Supreme. Make me feel special. Thank you. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Michael Kirgudovic says, we love to eat food from small tubes. Does that makes you feel like an astronaut? So maybe it's the experience of unpackaging the food and eat it that some people miss. Sarah Hall is saying very angrily, very exclaimed, what is Panda doing? So Panda was meant to wash the dishes, right? Panda has not washed the dishes. Instead, Panda is doing some kind of revolutionary protest and is sitting on the tap instead of using the tap to wash the dishes. That is what is going on, Sarah Hall. Okay. Hello, my friend. I am doing well. All for the Irish podcast. Good to have you in the house. Any of you who have not listened, there's a podcast called the Awfully Irish podcast, which is two young fellows discussing a wide range of subjects. I was one of their guests. Do check it out. It's very interesting. Okay, here we go. About Finnish Air, you agree with me, but they have nothing to lose. We will see what their sales will be, says Tricky Fun. This is entirely true. Okay, he is tap dancing then, says Sarah Hall. That is a lovely pun. Well done to you. Well done to you. Do we have any more stories at all? Oh, we have one final story, which is related to the airline food one, which is that the European Parliament came together on Friday to vote on a variety of issues, including whether veggie burger is a burger. Now, being a member of the European Parliament, you get to discuss such a wide variety of issues. You know, on Monday you're discussing Brexit, you're discussing trade embargoes, and then Tuesday is quinoa and soy patty, a patty or burger. I can't believe this is something that was actually seriously discussed, but yes, the Parliament said yes in a divisive vote against a measure that would ban plant-based meat alternatives from being referred to as burgers, right? Europe has already banned labeling plant-based dairy alternatives as milk, Why such a discussion? Why such a battle? Because a lot of the people who are in the business of selling meat products, be it butchers, be it um, dairy companies, they feel that having these vegetarian and vegan alternatives having the same name hurts their sales, right? The existence of a veggie burger, they believe, hurts their sales of meat burgers. The existence of soy milk, they believe, hurts their sales of dairy milk. I gotta tell you, y'all are idiots, okay? We are not idiots, okay? If you are somebody who wants to eat meat, you are going to eat meat. You're not going to be tricked by the words. I've never been like, oh, let me go get a burger and then seen a vegan burger and thought it's the same as a meat burger and eat it. You can't trick us. Would it work the other way around? Huh? Do you think if there was a bacon-based lettuce, okay, just strips of shaved bacon made to look like lettuce, do you think any vegetarian would pick up this and say, oh, the lettuce looks a little different today, I'll give it a shot? We're not idiots, okay? You can call it whatever you want. We will find what we want. I don't care if it's called a burger or a veggie burger. Y'all need to calm down and just focus on making sure that you don't give us horse meat. Here we go. Off the Orange podcast says, I ordered a burger and there was no meat. You might burn the place down if you ordered a burger with no meat. That's a good point. I will say, though, that I recently had my mind changed about plant burgers because Chelsea made plant burgers which were actually tasty. Now, I don't know if this is some kind of alchemy from being American, that they're just good at making burgers. Yeah. But it was delicious. But before that, I would have said yes. When I want a burger, I want a meat burger. Nobody else give me their fake nonsense. Sarah Hall says I should write a book about panda. I probably could, but I probably should first finish my book, which my literary agent has been waiting for 2 months. Okay, here we go. Good to have you here, Chad Supreme. You're saying you've got to go, but you had fun. Well, I have got to go too. So I am saying to everybody who has been here, actually quite a lot of you have dropped out because I went longer than half an hour. I think half an hour is the sweet spot. I went from having around 70 people to around having 40 people to around having 22. But all 22 of you, thank you for staying out. Anybody who is checking this out later on YouTube or Facebook, thank you so much. I know that now that things are sort of half open, there's probably less inclination to come check out a Zoom or a streamed gig. I mean, back in lockdown times, I was hitting 1,000 people. But I fully understand now I'm competing with meeting up with friends and so on and so forth. But I am going to keep going until life is back to normal, whenever that is, doing these Coronacasts. I will be back tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a delight. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.